You're paying $5.49 for a Cadbury bar in Toronto. In Iqaluit, that same bar costs $15. But here's what really should shock you. That bar contains chocolate made by children as young as 5 years old, using machetes in West African cocoa farms. I spent 3 months investigating Canada's chocolate industry. What I found will change how you see every chocolate bar in your local store. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which brands to avoid, why they're not what you think, and most importantly, what you should buy instead. Let's start with the worst offenders. Brand number 6, Cadbury. Since 1922, it's been marketed as a Canadian classic. But here's what happened. In 2010, American food giant Kraft bought Cadbury for $19.5 billion. They promised no job losses, no changes. Within 5 years, 370 Canadian jobs were gone from the Toronto factory. And they changed the formula. Old Cadbury was 30% cocoa and pure cocoa butter. New Cadbury? Only 26% cocoa, and they added modified palm oil. That waxy texture you've noticed? That's not chocolate, that's cheap vegetable fat. One 180-gram Cadbury bar contains 100 grams of sugar. That's 25 teaspoons. And it costs Iqaluit residents $15. That's 173% more than Toronto. But the real problem? Multiple investigations have found child labor in Cadbury's supply chain. A 2022 BBC investigation found children as young as 10 working on farms certified as sustainable by Cadbury's own program. 20 years of promises. Child labor is still there. Brand number 5, Nestle Kit Kat. Let's talk about Nestle. This is the company whose former CEO said water isn't a human right. It should have market value. A Kit Kat bar is only 23% cocoa. The second ingredient is palm oil, not chocolate. You're eating mostly wafer and vegetable fat with a chocolate-flavored coating. The actual cocoa in a Kit Kat? About 9% of the total bar. Coffee Crisp, Smarties, Aero, all the same story. Minimal cocoa, maximum palm oil and sugar. And the supply chain? In 2021, 8 former child laborers sued Nestle in U.S. federal court. Their testimony: trafficked as children to Ivory Coast cocoa farms, forced to work 14-hour days with machetes, never paid, beaten if they slowed down. Nestle has been promising to fix child labor since 2001. It's 2025. Investigations still find children in their supply chain. One Smarties box contains 28 grams of sugar. That's 7 teaspoons in 45 grams of candy. And those bright colors? Artificial dyes that require warning labels in Europe for links to hyperactivity in children. In Canada, no warning required. Verdict: never buy Nestle products. Not just chocolate, anything with their name. Brand number 4, Mars bars. A Mars a day helps you work, rest, and play. That slogan is a lie. A Mars bar is 93% not chocolate. It's nougat, caramel, and a thin coating. The coating is only 25% cocoa, so the actual chocolate in a Mars bar? About 7% of what you're eating. But here's what you are eating: 30 grams of sugar. That's 7.5 teaspoons in a single bar. It's 57% sugar by weight. The energy you feel? A blood sugar spike that crashes within an hour, leaving you more tired and craving more sugar. That's not energy, that's addiction by design. Mars sources cocoa from the same West African farms with documented child labor. A 2021 class action lawsuit alleges Mars knowingly profited from child slavery. The case is ongoing. And the environmental cost? Mars uses 150,000 tons of palm oil annually, linked to 45,000 hectares of Indonesian rainforest destruction between 2015 and 2019. That's orangutan habitat gone. Brand number 3, Lindt. Lindt markets itself as premium Swiss chocolate. Canadians pay premium prices for these bars. Here's what they don't advertise. Not all Lindt sold in Canada is made in Switzerland. Check the back label. Many Lindt Excellence bars are made in Germany or Austria. Same price, different manufacturing, lower standards. The front shows Swiss flags and alpine imagery. The back says, made in Germany. Even Lindor truffles contain vegetable fats, including palm oil, as the second ingredient. And remember that 2022 Consumer Report study? Lindt Excellence 70% tested at 116% above California's safe limit for lead and 137% above for cadmium. 1 ounce per day exceeds safe heavy metal exposure. Canada has no regulations for heavy metals in chocolate. Child labor? A 2022 investigation traced Lindt's supply chain to deforested protected areas in Ghana with documented child labor. Verdict: you're paying Swiss prices for often non-Swiss chocolate with heavy metal contamination and ethical problems. Brand number 2, Laura Secord. This one hurts. Laura Secord was a Canadian war hero who walked 32 kilometers during the War of 1812 to warn British forces, helping Canada stay independent from America. The company using her name? Owned by American private equity, made in Pennsylvania. Laura Secord chocolate isn't even real chocolate. It's compound coating, vegetable oil with cocoa powder, not cocoa butter. Second ingredient, modified palm kernel oil. They estimate it contains only 15 to 20% cocoa. The rest is sugar and cheap fats. A Valentine's Heart box costs $23 for compound coating made in the USA, sold under the name of a Canadian hero who fought against Americans. The company provides zero information about cocoa sourcing. No transparency, no certifications, nothing. Verdict: avoid entirely. It's an insult to Canadian heritage. And brand number 1. Ferrero. Each Ferrero Rocher contains 4.5 cents of ingredients. You pay $1. The actual cocoa content? About 7% of each piece. It's mostly wafer, hazelnut paste, and you guessed it, palm oil. Despite the luxury positioning, they use artificial vanillin, to save pennies per piece. Nutella is even worse. It's 56% sugar and 19% palm oil. That's 75% sugar and palm oil. It's marketed as breakfast food in Canada. In reality, 2 tablespoons contain 16 grams of sugar, and Kinder products? Explicitly marketed to children with toys inside, creating demand cycles. Ferrero's palm oil has been linked to 7,000 plus hectares of Indonesian rainforest destruction. Their cocoa? Same West African supply chains with child labor. So what's actually happening here? 5 corporations, Mondelez, Nestle, Mars, Ferrero, and Hershey, control 95% of Canada's chocolate market. They've figured out they can reduce cocoa content to 7 to 26%, replace expensive cocoa butter with cheap palm oil, pay cocoa farmers poverty wages, use child labor with no consequences, market nostalgia and heritage, and charge premium prices. And it's legal because Canada allows products with only 25% cocoa to be called milk chocolate. In Europe, the minimum is 35%. But here's the good news. Alternatives exist. Real chocolate, ethically sourced, and some are actually cheaper than Cadbury. If you only make one change, make this one. Switch from Cadbury to Whittaker's. Whittaker's is a New Zealand family-owned company. It's available at Walmart, and it's actually cheaper than Cadbury. A 250-gram block of Whittaker's costs about the same as a 180-gram Cadbury bar. You get more chocolate for your money. This is the easiest switch you can make today. Go to Walmart. Buy Whittaker's instead of Cadbury. Get better chocolate. Next up is Camino, which is a Canadian worker-owned cooperative based in Ottawa, and their chocolate is fair trade and organic. It costs about $1 more than Cadbury, but here's what you get in return. You get 55 to 85% cocoa content, which is real chocolate. You get 100% fair trade certified chocolate, where farmers are paid fairly. You get organic certification, which means no pesticides. You get no palm oil whatsoever, and you get a transparent supply chain from Peru, Ecuador, and the Dominican Republic. It's available everywhere, including Loblaws, Sobeys, Metro, and Superstore, which means you have no excuse not to find it. This is objectively better chocolate at almost the same price. And the only reason to buy Cadbury over Camino at this point is pure ignorance. But now you know the truth. If you're fortunate enough to live in a major Canadian city, you have access to world-class ethical chocolate made right here in your own country. Now, let me put this entire situation in perspective for you, so you understand what's really at stake here. When it comes to child labor, there are 1.56 million children working in cocoa production in West Africa right now, and 95% of them are doing hazardous work, including using machetes, carrying heavy loads, and being exposed to pesticides. And some of these children are as young as 5 years old. It would cost only 8 cents per chocolate bar to pay farmers a living wage and eliminate child labor completely. Just 8 cents per bar. But these companies refuse to do it because it would cut into their profits. When it comes to your health, the average Canadian eats 6.4 kilograms of chocolate per year, which translates to 356 grams of sugar just from chocolate alone. And type 2 diabetes in Canada has increased by 148% since the year 2000. And we now see pediatric type 2 diabetes, which was once called adult-onset diabetes, with 700 new cases annually in Canadian children. When it comes to the environment, 80% of Ghana's forests are gone primarily due to cocoa production. An Indonesian rainforest is being cleared for the palm oil that ends up in your chocolate, and orangutans with fewer than 55,000 Bornean orangutans left in the wild are being pushed to extinction because of these practices. When it comes to northern Canada, in Iqaluit, Nunavut, where 46% of households are food insecure, a Cadbury bar costs $15. And in Yellowknife, it costs $9.49. And these communities have the highest diabetes rates in Canada, while also paying the highest chocolate prices. And that's not explained by shipping costs. That's pure exploitation of vulnerable communities. This isn't just about chocolate anymore. This is about corporate greed. This is about regulatory failure. And this is about a system that prioritizes profit over people at every single turn. If this video opened your eyes to something you didn't know before, hit that like button, share it with everyone you know, and subscribe for more investigations like this one. Drop a comment below telling me which brand shocked you the most, or whether you're going to make the switch to ethical chocolate. Together, we're going to make ethical chocolate the default option rather than the alternative, and we're going to force these corporations to change or die. Thanks for watching this video, and now go switch your chocolate immediately.